we're here at West Cramlington, which is now Alexandra Park, but it was where the Cramlington Train Wreckers lived. Most of them lived here. And what we're going to do is show people around and talk to them about the conditions that these miners lived in, and the terrible conditions. And the bosses came and said they had to take a 40% wage cut.
Let's remember, they'd been through the First World War, then the Depression, the General Strike, then the Second World War. I had no idea what these men had been through. And I have written a couple of songs about it.
Yes, and you're going to do a couple of songs, a couple of verses
hopefully,
from these songs today
yes,
as well.
Yes. Oh, me grandad Jimmy Mattingham walked out the Nelson pit, and on Fridays I would go with him, his wages to collect. His old pal Billy Muckle, and they'd hobble with their sticks. But little did I know of what they'd done in 26.
Well, today, the 10th of May, was the 7th day of the general strike, and it was the day that the miners from Cramlington met about 300 yards from here at the welfare, the miners' hall, and Bill Golightly, who was the leader of the union around here, a union, a miners' union official, he said, if you can't stop the trains at the station, stop them between the stations. And he said, stop everything on wheels.
My grandfather, James Herbert Mattingham, or Jimmy Mattingham, was on the lodge of the Cramlington Union that invited William Golightly to do a keynote speech on the 10th of May, 1926.
Of the 300 who were in the meeting, 40, 50 people went down to the main line, railway line.
So my grandfather's best pal, Billy Muckle, and a few others, including my grandfather, they all went off, broke into a lineman's hut and removed a section of railway track.
It was 45 feet. It weighed in the region of 102 stones. Can you imagine that? So it took 40 of them to lift it.
And in an act of desperation, they derailed the flying scar.
They thought it was a scab train, but it wasn't. It was the Flying Scotsman with 281 people on board. Nobody died, only one person was slightly injured. But because of the sellout of the general strike, there was a carnival, by the TUC leaders, there was a carnival of reaction. And they were sentenced to 48 years in total at Maidstone Prison, 330 miles away from their home. Their family were allowed one visit a year for 1 hour.
In the months that followed after, the miners fought alone, and the men who'd been at trackside into prison they were thrown. After months of hunger, in November men returned. Lions led by rats, and resentment still it burns.
I think when I read the book by Mr. Muckle, I could understand what kind of a life they were leading, and it is really, we wouldn't accept it in 21st century standards.
So we've been working on this for a year. We've put a call out for volunteers to join the committee at Cramlington Town Council. We've had some fantastic volunteers. They're doing some fantastic work at the Cramlington Hub, which I hope everybody's going to come and see.
Billy Muckle, he was just an old guy that I knew when I was a child. I was only a boy. And he used to do magic tricks. He used to pull coins out behind your ears. Nice fella.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 shilling and we've got another shilling. So that was, you need 9pence, don't we? So 3 and 9pence. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could make it out of these 2 halfpennies, couldn't you? So that's 2 shilling, 3 shilling, 3 shilling and 6pence.
Yes.
And 9 pennies.
9 pennies.
And that's
that
what
would
he
put
went for.
that would put a hole in your pocket, wouldn't it?
Definitely, it's quite heavy as well.
Absolutely.
So that equates today's money of 34 pence.
Yeah.
So in 34 pence, what could you do with that today.
Not a lot.
Wouldn't even buy a pint of beer, would it?
I wouldn't know how much is a beer now.
Wouldn't even buy a bag of crisps.
The conditions that the miners had were disgraceful.
Absolutely dreadful.
And had a minimum wage of 6 shillings and 9 pence.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
Of course, this area where we're living was West Cramlington, and that was the whole community. And they all knew each other. You know, they all lived in this. There was like a square of houses, and they all knew each other. Margaret's grandfather had a shop at High Pit. Now, in 1926, he was 43, but he did have 3 or 4 sons that were in the pit, so he had to protect them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But he used to give credit to people because obviously they didn't have the money.
They were
When
starving.
he was giving credit, he said, all right, just pay when you come, you know, when you get better times.
So you're looking at poverty, people who are living in poverty anyway, and it's even more dire poverty. One bigger part of it was the women. And I thought, that doesn't get talked about as much. These men couldn't stay on strike if these women weren't in the sport. They had these, what they call rabbit pie suppers to raise money.
For the miners of the thousand, and may they'll have their say. Not a penny off their wages, not a minute on the day. In their hopeless situation, retribution they forgot. And in an act of desperation, they derailed the Flying Scot.
They attended a meeting in the Mechanics Institute, which was above a building called the Stables.
which is near the St Peter and Paul's School, roughly where the football pitches are for St Peter and Paul's schools, where the institute would
it's
be.
always difficult to pinpoint
exactly. But there was a mechanical institute, and then on top of it, they were
the Stables downstairs, Mechanical Institute upstairs.
upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's an
okay.
outside
Of course,
stair.
tables downstairs. All
Yeah,
right.
there's a photograph in there somewhere of it.
All right.
Come to see the Cramlington Train Wreckers. Hey! The play, it's on at the Theatre Royal in Newcastle on July the 12th. And before that, it's going to Belfast and Londonderry. So get your tickets as soon as possible.
But in an act of desperation, they derailed the Flying Scot.